These men had no ropes, no harnesses, no nets. Just a steel beam the width of your shoulders, 1,000 feet of open air below them, and a deadline that should have been impossible. They were racing to build the tallest structure in human history, and they were doing it while their entire country was falling apart. In October 1929, the stock market collapsed. Millions lost everything overnight. And in that exact moment, the worst possible moment, a small group of men looked at the sky over Manhattan and made a decision that sounded insane. They would build higher than anyone in history had ever dared, and they would do it in just 410 days. Most skyscrapers of that size took 4 years. They had barely one. I used AI to rebuild every stage of that race, beam by beam, floor by floor, from the men in the sky to the secret rivalry that started it all. So let's go back to the beginning, because this didn't start as a building. It started as a war. To understand the Empire State Building, you have to understand the ego that created it. In the late 1920s, New York wasn't just growing, it was competing. Being the tallest building in the world wasn't about office space, it was about pride, power, and putting your name in the clouds where everyone had to look up to see it. And by 1929, 3 men were locked in a secret race to win that title. The first was Walter Chrysler, the automobile king, building his glittering Art Deco tower on 42nd Street. The second was a banker at 40 Wall Street downtown, quietly adding floors to snatch the crown. The two projects were spying on each other. Every time one added a story, the other added 2. Then came the twist nobody saw. The architect of the Chrysler Building, William Van Allen, had a secret weapon. Hidden inside the top of his tower, his workers had been secretly assembling a 185-foot steel spire. And on a single day in October 1929, they raised it through the roof in just 90 minutes, a needle of steel piercing the sky. Just like that, the Chrysler Building became the tallest structure on Earth. The men at 40 Wall Street had been beaten, and they never even saw it coming. But watching all of this, quietly, patiently, was a third man, and he was about to make both of them irrelevant. His name was John J. Raskob, a former executive at General Motors, and the legend goes that Raskob pulled a fat pencil out of his desk, stood it on its end, and asked his architect one simple question: how high can you make it so it won't fall down? He didn't want to win the race by a few feet. He wanted to end the race forever. There was just one problem. Raskob had a deadline that bordered on madness. He wanted his building, the tallest in the world, open to the public by May 1st, 1931. That gave the team roughly 18 months to design, demolish, dig, and build a 102-story tower. Buildings a fraction of that size were taking years. To even begin, they first had to destroy something already famous. The site chosen was home to the original Waldorf Astoria Hotel, one of the most glamorous hotels in the world. In 1929, the wrecking crews moved in, and the palace of New York's elite was torn down to clear the ground. The design itself came from architect William Lamb, and it was a masterpiece of ruthless simplicity. The story goes that his blueprints were drawn in just 2 weeks. There was no time for decoration or ego in the structure. Every single element was designed around one question: how do we build this faster than anyone ever has? The answer wasn't just clever architecture. The answer was to turn the construction site itself into a machine. Now we come to the part of the story almost everyone forgets. Because a building doesn't rise on its own. It rises on the backs and the nerve of the men who climb into the sky to build it.
All right, bring
At
her
its
down
peak,
slow.
3,400 workers
clear the
swarmed the
area.
site every single day.
Hold
And
it
among
steady
them
now.
was a group whose courage became legendary. The Mohawk ironworkers, many from the Ganawage community near Montreal. These men walked across steel beams no wider than a dinner plate, hundreds of feet in the air, as casually as you'd walk down a sidewalk. They caught red-hot rivets thrown through the air in metal cans. They ate their lunch sitting on beams with nothing beneath their boots but 1,000 feet of empty space and the streets of Manhattan far below. There were no safety harnesses, no nets in the early stages, no modern rules. If you slipped, you were gone. And yet, officially, only 5 workers died building the Empire State Building. For a project of that height, at that speed, in that era, it was considered almost miraculous. But those men weren't thinking
Watch your
about
footing up there.
records.
All right,
Every
send the
morning,
rivet up.
they climbed higher than they had the day before, into thinner air and stronger wind, and did work that would make most people freeze in terror. The building was rising, and it was rising faster than anything the world had ever seen. Here is the detail that most people never understand about the Empire State Building. It wasn't just built, it was manufactured, like a car rolling off an assembly line, which makes sense given the men behind it came from the auto industry. The steel was the key. Beams were forged in Pittsburgh, and in some cases
Hold it
they were
steady right
installed
there.
in the rising tower in New York within 80 hours of being
A little more to
poured.
the left.
The scheduling was so precise, it worked like a military operation. To move materials, the builders laid miniature railway tracks on each floor, running small carts of brick and stone exactly where they were needed.
All right, take it up.
Instead of hauling material up by hand,
Easy
they
now,
built
watch
a
the
system
swing.
that fed the tower like a
Hold
living
it steady
organism.
right there.
The result was staggering. At its fastest, the Empire State Building rose at a rate of about 4.5 floors every single week.
It just keeps going
Think
up.
about that. You could go away on a short vacation, come back, and the building
Good
would be
heavens, what
4
was that
stories
flash?
taller than when you left. Photographers documented the skeleton climbing
you
week
see
by
that?
week, and to New Yorkers walking past, it looked less like construction and more like the tower was growing on its own. In total, they used roughly 60,000 tons of steel, around 10 million bricks, and over 6,500
Hold that
windows,
cable!
all assembled in just
coming
over
loose.
a year. By the spring of
gotta get down
1931,
now.
the impossible was nearly done. The tallest building in the history of the world stood over Manhattan, and Raskob didn't just want the tallest building. He wanted the future. So at the very top of the tower, they built something no skyscraper had ever attempted: a mooring mast for airships. The idea sounds like science fiction, and honestly, it was. The plan was that giant passenger dirigibles, like the Hindenburg, would float over Manhattan, tie themselves to the top of the Empire State Building, and let passengers step out onto a platform 1,250 feet in the air and simply walk down into the city. It was breathtaking. It was also completely insane, because when they actually tested it, they discovered a problem no one could solve.
Hold the line.
The powerful,
It's slipping.
swirling winds at the top of the tallest building on Earth made it far too
Engage
dangerous
reverse
for a
thrust
massive
now.
airship
She's
to
pulling
ever
hard
hold
to starboard.
steady. During one attempt, a dirigible
Heave.
struggled
let her
violently
loose.
against the gusts, and it became instantly obvious that a giant balloon full of flammable gas tethered above a crowded city was a catastrophe waiting to happen. The airship dream was quietly abandoned, but the mast stayed. And it's the reason the Empire State Building has that iconic needle-topped silhouette we still recognize today. A monument to an idea that was too bold for its own good. On May 1st, 1931, right on schedule, the Empire State Building officially opened. President Herbert Hoover pressed a button in Washington, D.C., and the lights of the tallest building in the world blazed to life over New York City. They had done it. 102 stories, 1,454 feet to the tip. Built in just 410 days, ahead of schedule and remarkably under budget, partly because the Great Depression had made labor and materials so cheap. It was a triumph. And it was almost completely empty. This is the cruel irony at the heart of the story. The building had been finished, but the economy that was supposed to fill it had collapsed. In the depths of the Depression, almost no company could afford the offices. Floor after floor sat dark and silent. New Yorkers, with their sharp sense of humor, gave the world's greatest skyscraper a new nickname: the empty State Building. For years, it barely survived, kept afloat not by rent, but by the millions of tourists who paid just to ride to the observation deck and stand where the airships were supposed to dock. The tallest building in the world had been built as a symbol of confidence at the exact moment the country lost all of its confidence. It stood over Manhattan like a promise no one could yet afford to keep. But it held. It waited. And it would remain the tallest building on Earth for nearly 40 years, long after the men who built it were gone, long after the Depression ended, long after the world had changed completely. Those Mohawk ironworkers walking the beams, that fat pencil standing on Raskob's desk, that secret race to the sky. All of it came together in just 410 days and produced a silhouette that, almost a century later, still means one thing to the entire world: New York. We remember the Empire State Building for its skyline. We almost never remember that it was built in a race, during a collapse, by men who risked their lives 1,000 feet in the air and finished it in a time that still seems impossible today. That's the part that gets forgotten every time we look up at it. If this story pulled you in, hit subscribe and give this video a like. It genuinely helps me keep rebuilding history like this. And tell me in the comments, what building, city, or disaster do you want me to bring back to life next? I'll see you in the next one.